Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me to a new episode of the KMS Quick Shots. My name is Flo, and my guest today is Emmanuel De La Paix. Hi, Emmanuel. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Florian. Nice to meet you.
So, you're considered an electronic post-rock ambient, or as your website states it, atmospheric music multi-talent. So,
That's correct.
when did you find out that you are at home in this genre?
So during the last 10 years, I was collaborating and playing different genres, quite different. Like I was more involved in the rock ones, and of course also in the post rock. But during the last years, I start to think I need my own music to produce. So in 2020, I started to work on my style, and I was thinking, well, I was very impressed in concert and were a combination of different music performance like bands like Massive Attack, Bjork, or Movement, Sigur Rós. Then I start to drive this kind of genre, and then I start to mix my different influences from post rock and going to different ambience and atmospheric music, and I try to combine the different pieces of my personality that also include electronic music.
So, when was the first time you got into touch with music? Was it as a kid, or did you develop it later on?
It was when I was a kid, when I was 8 years old. I start to get involved in music because a friend of mine had a guitar, and when I went to his place, I remember I was a child, and I found this big tool with that was a wood, right? And I was taking in my arms and thinking, oh, this is something amazing and incredible. It was like a big toy. And I was thinking, I'm totally in love with this toy. And then I started to approach my parents and say, hey, I would like to play this instrument. And there were different opinions that say, if you want to get a guitar, we need to approach music properly, so we go for piano. So we went for the piano, so I started my piano lessons, and then I moved slightly when my parents were happy with my piano
Progress.
then I moved to the guitar. That was my first, let's say, yes, my first and main instrument for me.
Did you stick to music from there on, or was there interruption? I don't know, for work or for studying or something.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point at university, I was a little bit of stop because I started to think I need to find a job, and music was start to be a second option for me. But getting into the years, I always had different bands and projects, and then I started to get always involved and having some. Writing some music composition for some movies or short movies, and I always involved in this kind of environment. And then recently I said, well, now I need really to do something that is really expressing myself. Then I started to have this project on 2020 alone. Before I had some bands, but it was not really, I'm the person that would like to run things alone, because collaborating with people is good, but being in a band is like, something different. It's a relationship that should be very deep, and maybe I'm not the guy for this, or maybe I'm not ready for that now.
So when you changed from playing in those bands to your own project, why not keep the same genre and stay in the rock or pop genre instead?
Because I think, to be honest, you know, electronic music is very helpful when you don't have a band, or you need to fill some gaps, like, you know, when you have to compose something, and you need to do different things at the same time, and you're alone and you don't have a band anymore. You need to start, okay, who is doing the drum now? So the drum will be something that a software, or you can programming something. And then I think, well, it's nice. And then I was you know, checking the different options that you basically have when you start to do music. So I always try to combine what is electronic or programming with some sounds that are vintage, or let's say acoustic music, and I try always to balance this kind of things, because I'm not the guy that really would like to stick only to one option. I started to dive a little bit in the different, let's say, option that music can give, also to the technology that today can offer. So I would think, yeah, electronic music is something that I need to have in my. At the beginning was something very practical. So I need to have a programming. I need to program a drum machine in order to do that. To reach the live performance without a band. But after I was thinking, well, this kind of sounds, when you start to dive in, you say, okay, this technology is very cool, and there are some options that when you're doing post-rock or rock, you are not exploring, because you have a band, you are focusing in something. And then when I started to go into the electronic music, I say, well, this is incredible and wow. And then I started to dive in the electronic path.
How often would you say does it happen when you create something new that you accidentally stumble over something and say, oh, this is cool, I'm going to stick with that? Is it rather often that you encounter such things, or do you create music more with a linear approach? I want to do this and that, and now I'm going to check out how I can do that.
There is always an idea when I do a song, and there is a feeling, and then I try to explore the best way to explore to express this feeling. So I don't want to say that I stuck in that I stick to a specific path in the music creation, but overall I try to stick to the idea overall of the project. So will be an album or will be an EP. Yeah, I try overall to stick to this kind of feeling. And if I start, most of the songs I do, I create with the guitar. So it's always interesting to move from guitar to the electronic environment, to the final composition, because then I start, well, the guitar maybe it's not enough, let's try to put this, and I start to dive in the different tools. And this is something that is very precious for me, because it's the music that I create. So if you enter my different songs, you will see the approach is always a little bit different. But overall, you will see in the album that it's something that, well, I try to achieve. The feeling, it's always the same.
That's why I was asking this question, because hearing some of your tracks, I noticed it's almost like a sound adventurer that goes along those endless boxes of sound and says, oh, this one, and maybe this one, not that one. It feels not experimental, but adventurous in the things and tools you use to create something, some environment that's not really, I'd say, not common out there, but something new. So that being said, is there any specific hardware and software you use, or do you just pick them as you go?
During the years, I started with some synthesizer from the series, from Roland series. Then I started to, of course, including Ableton, and there are different, let's say, different libraries that I started to use, and then I start to combine to the different instruments that I will that I have, or that I found also during my journeys in the different recording music places. And for example, last time I was in here in Zurich, there is a place that is called the drum onlys, and they have also a mellotron. It was great to, you know, to see this instrument, this tool, and to say, yeah, maybe I can use it in my songs. And then you start to say, I never thought about it, but now that I'm here, I will take the opportunity to record this sound and then have it in my library and use it for a song. This is really inspiring me. And then, yeah, I have a piano, then started to have also a real piano at my place. And of course, I have the guitars. Then I start to buy things because I really like to experiment the different sounds, different libraries. Yes, I think that during the years, I start to collect different tools and moving from, from different taste, and also in the music that I do.
From what would you say do you draw the most inspiration from? Is it daily life, or is it some specific band or music you hear, or are there any other kind of things that you use as your muse, so to speak?
So I really listen different genres. So really, I don't have boundaries in that, and I think the most common thing is about, as I said, it's the atmospheric music. So everything that is a lot of delays or some kind of reverberating is something that for me it's very touching. So it could be the standard post-rock, but also in the metal field, there are a lot of bands that are really inspiring me. There is electronic music. I think the feeling is always the same. I mean, music is done by three main components: that is the accent, the rhythm, and the melody. And if these three things are cool for me, I'm not really looking to the genre. But all of these influences for me are something that are very inspiring. So I keep those ideas in the background, and then it's about the daily life. So usually during the week, I have, let's say, a sort of diary that I have, that is a music diary. And then I start to collect the different feelings or what I would like to express. Maybe there is a cool idea that I think is a cool meaning. Maybe I have a discussion with a colleague or with a friend. And then I start to say, okay, this is a very cool idea. And then I start to write the meaning. And then usually this meaning is also translated in music. And if it is, I don't know, maybe if an idea about, I don't know, when I'm in the nature, because in Switzerland we have a lot of nature around, I start to think, okay, about eternity or this kind of things. Then, of course, maybe I re-elaborate my personal experience, let's say, my personal daily life. And then for me, creating music is just a re-elaboration on what I do. But it's not only my journey. I always collect different inputs from the people around me.
So back in August, you released your album called Rescue Pack. And with releasing an album, you're sort of a dying breed out there, because people nowadays tend to release only single tracks once a month or twice a month, maybe. I guess what you just said with the combining the ideas and collecting several situations or sceneries, I guess this was one of the main reasons you even did an album instead of an EP. Is that correct?
Yes, I started with an EP because it was just that I published in January, because I was looking for a label. And then I thought, okay, a single probably is not really expressing where I want to go. Let's do a 4 tracks. And that was this EP that's called the Rescue Pack. And then I had already in the back new material. Then I was looking for a label. And when I reached out the label, it was about, I have a message with this album, and all these songs that I think I try to be different one from the others. The message was to say, look, we have an overall message. There is also a vision in the album. So for me, it was not only an exercise about tasting different, mixing different compositions. It was just a journey. So Rescue Pack is a soundtrack to escape. This was for me, and the description of the journey. It's like, let's say, a fight between the dark depression and the light joy. So if you go through the album, you will see there is this kind of journey that I experienced. It was during 2020, 2021, so during the COVID. And that was probably a quarantine music, if you want. But there was also a message, and the message was, look, music is something that is really elevating me during this period, and I think is a very I would say noble thing to use to express ourselves at a different level.
Just out of curiosity, that question came just up. How important is it for you as a musician to transmit the message instead of some guy listening to the track or to the album and saying, "Hey, cool music," period. So is it important for you that people acknowledge the message as well, or is it the same with the music?
It's a good question. I think that we cannot control the different readers or layers of song composing of every piece of art that is around, because basically what is happening is, as you said, you have the first impression. You say, this is cool, I like it, I put in my, let's say, playlist, or I will buy. This is what people is doing, and it's totally fine. Then when you really like something, you would like to dive a little bit in the reasons, in the meaning, and then you discover another layer. This is what is happening with me. Maybe it's not happening with other people, but when I approach something that could be a book, a movie, or could be an album, what I will do is say, yes, I like. Then if I really like, then I try to investigate a little bit. What is the reason? Why this choice instead of the other? And you start to discover different stories, and making for you more cool or more interesting. And you approach the author with a different level. You start to have a connection with this author. So I cannot create this kind of relationship, but if someone will ask me, I think there will be some funny stories about the composition that we had, that I did with this album.
So continuing the Rescue Pack discussion here, one of the advantages of being a music blogger is that you get your hands on unreleased material. And so when you sent me over the video you did with Tobias Wüttrich, sorry. What made you do a video? Is this the first video you ever did? And what made you do the specific video too?
So with him, I did 2 videos. The first one was Fingerprints last year in autumn, and this year also in autumn we did this video about Oasis. I did also another video for Clouds to Climb with another movie maker, but this movie maker for Oasis and Fingerprints is living nearby me, and I met him, and he had different cool ideas, and we thought about, well, we need to release something very cool for another, because we did the Fingerprints video was very cool, but we were thinking, okay, now we need to have a next level. What, after 1 year of material about Rescue Pack, we thought, okay, now 1 year passed, what we can do at the next level? And we were thinking about the nature, about my gray colors, let's say, of music. And then we thought we need to find a great location. We need to find a story about that. And we thought, okay, let's go to the Swiss Alps, because we are talking about the Swiss Alps together since more than 1 year, about the music and the landscape. In my Instagram, I always refer to the scenarios from Switzerland or from Iceland because I love both this kind of landscapes for different reasons. And then I was really focusing to do something about the Swiss Alps. And then we went to Grindelwald, that is here in Switzerland, is an amazing place. And we started to combine. Unfortunately, or fortunately, is a video maker and I'm a musician. So there is always a little bit of conflict about what I think will be cool and what they think is will be cool. But at the end, the magic thing is with him is that I will follow his, let's say, instruction or guidance, and I was very happy with the results. So at a certain point, you need to create a relationship or a trust. And with this movie maker, all the time that we collaborate. At the beginning, I have also my idea. He suggests me, look, we need to do it in this way. I say, no, I prefer that. Please try in this way. So he does, and then I come back to him. No, sorry, you were right. And at the end, the product is always cool. And with this video, I think we achieved what we were looking for.
I was going to say that you stated at the beginning of the interview that you're not so much into collaborations because these are limiting yourself. And now you're doing the collaborations with the video maker. So I guess, but still the question remains, why a video in the first place? Why not just do the music and that's it?
No, I mean, for me, it's essential that music is something linked to the art visual. I think my music is very cinematic, and when I write something, I always have images in my mind. I'm very, let's say, aesthetic, and I love beautiful things. So composition or writing, or it's always something that I see linked to something that is visual. That could be a video, or could be also something more art visual. Unfortunately, I cannot do it now, but in the future is something I would like to do, something like music plus visual art that should be not only video, but for me, ideally, I would like also to collaborate visually with some, I don't know, the painters or drawing something that will be together with music. This is something that I would like to see will be part of collaboration. That ideally I don't want to do it as a fixed things, but on specific project, yes, it's something that
I guess it's just
very
part of the path you're going as a musician. You won't be able to max out your ability unless you do the collaborations, but not specifically planned, but when they happen, I guess. So
yeah, exactly.
With the video coming out at the start of December, I guess. What's next after this release? Are there any plans for 2022 yet?
I mean, yes, for sure. We are thinking with the label to do some remixes of my songs, because one feedback or one idea was also to have something more, probably, I don't know, danceable, if we can say in this way, or beating. Probably in 6 months, we would like to have a remixing session with some DJs. And after in 2022, for sure, we would like to have a second album in autumn. In the meanwhile, I'm also collaborating for soundtracks for a couple of short movies. They will be out in January, February 2022, if everything went well. And then hopefully there will be also some live session in 2022, and November is a critical month to define it. Depends how it's going. Yeah, for 2022. Yeah, for sure. This is something that
I guess it depends on how the COVID situation is going to continue out there.
Yeah.
So definitely not quiet times for you ahead.
It's very challenging and very interesting for me to have all this kind of things, and I have to thank my label, because they are very let's say, active and very present in my daily life. We have a lot of discussion. They are pushing me further to find new project or opportunity to have visibility and progress further.
I guess this is only an advantage to have someone in the back to just push you in the right direction when you think it's a great time to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that's it for the night. Emmanuel, thank you very much for meeting me tonight. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Florian.
Guys, if you want to know more about Emmanuel De La Paix and his work and what he does, produces, releases, and whatnot, please check out the social handles and the website URL at the end of the video. That's it for the night. All I have to say is be safe. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.